What is up, my friends? Jesse here with Just Man Sports Cards. Going to do a video response to the Mangini Collection buyer beware video. I thought it was pretty interesting, and I've seen some of the response videos that he shared. I'll share his video down below if you want to check that out. Mainly collects, I would say, vintage baseball is what he mainly collects, but I enjoy watching his channel and learning stuff from it. And I believe that um, the baseball card collectors are in Mangini as well are good about creating community and sharing videos and doing video responses. He mentions Pepino Man too. I'll share his channel below too. I follow him as well. A little more raucous, fun channel. Pepino Man. If you want to giggle or laugh, it's fun. I did take notes, so to the buyer beware. Um, Basically, I would skip into his video 5 minutes in. That's when he actually starts talking about the matter at hand. So they're talking about what happens to the cards that are coming back that are altered or trimmed from PSA, and that there's probably a flood of these cards coming back. Um, to me, there's no proof that there's a flood of cards coming back from PSA that are altered or colored or trimmed. Um, so just to make that assumption, it's an assumption. So I've always been taught that you should speak from experience or knowledge base. So I think when we start to make assumptions is when we start to uh, create um, falsehoods and spreading of misinformation. So I think this video can be in a way spreading misinformation just because there's no facts behind it, and I don't have facts that there's a lot of cards coming back from PSA that haven't been altered or anything like that. My experience is that I'm sending in roughly on average 50 cards a month. I've graded over close to 2,000 cards. Probably 30% of those are vintage basketball. Um, and so then part of the question is what happens when those cards come back? In my experience, um, I've had two vintage cards come back. One was in the 1970 set. Both were in the 1970 set, the tall boy cards. Um, one said it was trimmed and one said it was colored. The one it was Bill Bradley, I believe. I couldn't see where it had been colored. I looked it over, and simply what I did, and I see other sellers do this, is they list the card with the holder from PSA, the penny sleeve or whatever, the card saver, and they'll put a sticker on there of what they deem to be the flaw, and you just list that on eBay. Like I can't see the coloring, but PSA has clearly said that this card is colored. The other one that said it was trimmed, I just put it up next to another card in that set. It was clearly trimmed. I just trashed it. I ate the however much that card was worth, $5 or $10. So there are honest people out there. I don't. I personally don't know that many people out there that are trying to get one up on someone over something like that. Uh, so then he also mentions that there's more people doing this trying to do PSA and that they're getting away with it. I don't know where that proof is either. So I've I have friends that I talk to in the hobby that also grade cards with PSA. If you watch my channel, I focus on 90s. So the big thing with certain cards in the 90s is just the way they were manufactured. Some are you'll get them min sized. It won't say it's trimmed, but it will just say it's min size. So it's a the minimum size requirement isn't met for them to grade the card, and that's what it means. Uh, the 95 Rain Man is a popular set that gets min sized a lot, and they just don't. It happens a lot, and my friends reach out and like, what do you what can you do? And some of them send those cards to BGS and have a little better luck over there getting them graded. So I think there is a big difference in PSA and the other grading card companies. I think PSA is the strictest and lets the fewest errors get through as far as cards being altered or fakes or trimmed. Um, and if you ever, so here's like, I graded this card showing it's 1975 Keith Wilkes. It's his rookie card. This is kind of a sneaky pickup that you can pick up decently raw. In a six, it does 60, $70. And if you're ever at a card show or like you get the card in hand and you're really worried about trimming, the easiest thing to do is just to put another card up against it and see if the size matches up. And if it doesn't, then there's something to be worried about. And I even see dealers buying uh, raw cards at shows, and like they might be a little nervous about if they've been trimmed or not. I'm just like, hold another card from that set up to it. It's like if it's even if it's minuscule, you'll notice it when it's right on top of each other. So there's a tip. Um, and then he mentions can't trust graded cards. I don't know why you can't. There's not a lot of I know there's sensational videos out there where people have gotten fake cards through, but I still believe that's like not even a 0.1%. Um, and then Mangini mentions AI. Uh, PSA's owned Gemini for a while, and they've openly admitted that they're using this in the grading process. Uh, and I think this is what helps them catch stuff that a lot of times the human eye misses. I think that's why a lot of cards are coming back lower grades than people are anticipating. Sometimes it even happens to me, and I feel like I've developed a more keen eye over the last 3 years, submitting close to 2,000 cards, and I have a submission coming back this week, and I have some sixes and sevens in there of stuff I definitely would have sent in. But then what happens a lot of times is you get those cards home and you crack it out, and then you really, really, really look it over, and you find the error that they see. And I just really believe those graders do have AI technology, the Gemini technology aiding them in the grading process. And that is one of the strong reasons you can trust PSA and PSA graded cards. And that's why they do get a premium. So what else do I have here? Just two other things. I already spoke to them. Overall, I thought the video was kind of sensationalized. So I want to make a response to it, just saying, show me the proof that this is happening, and then I'll believe it. But I don't. I watch a lot of hobby content. I participate in the hobby. I'm buying a decent amount of cards every week, graded and ungraded. Probably 70% graded, uh, and then 40% ungraded. And I'm sending cards in to be graded. I mean, I'm not afraid to buy vintage at all. Uh, the only other tip I would recommend if you are buying vintage, and I recommend this for anyone buying raw in general, is you should pull the card out of this top loader as soon as you get it and look at it underneath the light. The number one thing that I see is there's some sort of crease or bend in the card that was not clearly pictured. And I mean, you can look at this one, and the centering's pretty good on it. The corners look pretty sharp, so it should grade pretty well. And there's no marks on the back or anything. And But then if you were to pull this out, and sometimes the top loader hides it, is there might be some sort of micro crease in it. Um, I think the technical term is like a bend if it doesn't show all the way through the card and just on one side, and then a crease is something that you can see on both sides of the cards through it. So that'd be my top tip there. But overall, don't be scared. Thanks for the video, Mangini, and I'll catch everyone later.